Okay, it's been too long, but here is episode 2 of Magister Ka Thinks About Stuff. A lot has happened, and I've been, oh boy, is YouTube not my forte, but we're getting there. If you look on the channel now, you'll see there are more videos. I've gotten one for one of my Latin classes put up. I'm working on more. And I've got just a separate one, a playlist I'd like to make of one of the resources that I use in my third year Latin class. What I'm most excited about is that, okay, so I found this video. Back up. In this whole quarantine thing where there's lots going on, a project that I've started is learning things. I'm gonna move the camera down a little bit to make this easier to see. It's still not great because I gotta go all up here. But now in quarantine, learning some sign language, some ASL, American Sign Language, and so I've been watching a lot of videos, and I came across this interesting video called Rhyming in ASL, and I thought, well, I mean, that's worth checking out. How do you rhyme in American Sign Language? Link in the description. I should link in the description. And so I watched it, and it's good. It was very interesting, and his example was, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, and how, he goes through two sort of the principles of what does it mean to rhyme, and how can we apply that to, a non-verbal language. Because obviously in English, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. Totally easy. If you wanted to do it in Latin, if I translate it from my head, you would do, let's see, Feliz viola. Feliz viola. You would do like elge for hay, that'll work. Do elge for hay. And then the cat and the fiddle is going to be, Feliz con viola. And so what do we do for diddle, which is not a word, really? And so what he said is, okay, well, you need something that's going to work metrically, and the what we would call the sound, the similar sound, diddle, fiddle. They sound similar, they have similar sounds, and they have the same sort of rhythm. And so how do you do that? Well, fiddle, or the cat and the fiddle, da 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 da. You can see that it's really the dum da 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 da. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. So what's our Latin one sound like? Well, the bottom one is Feliz como viola, da 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 da, feliz como viola. So, elge, that gets us feliz elge, feliz como viola, elge da da da. And then we just gotta think of made up Latin words. I don't know, we just like Ludiola, something like that. Let's do something that has the, let's do something, I guess something that a small child would like, so Duliola, maybe. So elge Duliola, feliz como viola. Something like that. So what he does is then he takes it and says, okay, well, how do you start with that second line? What does the second line look like in ASL? And then what do you do from there? I just thought it was super interesting and a really good sort of lesson in first principles almost, where you're not trying to take from one language to another, you're just trying to figure out what is the actual underlying structure, and then how do we work from that, and you get a much more effective product when you really sort of get down to what's actually happening, sort of the metaphysical of what's going on, what we would call the theoria, the theory, not just the thing, but the why behind it, and go from there. Which is, when you're doing a real translation, that's what you want. You want to capture what's being said, not just what's being said. Other than that, I don't have a lot of updates. Oh, I guess I had another question that I had. I guess what kind of stuff? This channel's not, at least my idea for the channel is not that it's only, me doing Latin things, but also Greek, another language that I thoroughly enjoy. Philosophy. I love philosophy. I love thinking about things and reading philosophers and critiquing bad philosophy, which is a constant it's a constant stream of bad philosophy. We're humans. We're not very good at it. And so we all are very bad at philosophy, and we're all just trying to be better at thinking and understanding the world and getting better at wondering about the world. That's the big thing. What was it today? I was reading a book on Plato, and it said Plato's philosophy differs from modern philosophy so much because modern philosophy is all about reduction, about putting things in box, about debunking myths and demythologizing and trying to make everything understandable and rejecting everything that isn't understandable as unreal. Anything that's not provable gets considered unreal, basically. And basically it's take the world and find the small little bit of it that we can make sense of and reject the rest. Don't worry about the rest and so reject, but the rest is not worth thinking about because the rest lies in the realm of opinion, and the provable, scientifically provable, lies in the realm of fact. Plato's philosophy is all about expansion, about saying there's so much more than we will ever understand, and that part's what's real. Our understanding is this little tiny glimpse into what's really out there, and what our understanding is the fake thing. It's the shadow. It's what's not. It is what is not. Whereas the real things, the incomprehensible, is the more real, because it's the deeper, it's the truer, it's the form of all of our ideas. As we look at, say, this blanket behind me, I can only ever know so much about the blanket, but there's always so much more about the blanket that part of it can be understood, part of it can never be understood, the real blanketness. So that was another thing. I love philosophy, and I love thinking about it. And yeah, I guess Latin 4 knows that I like philosophy. They're reading a lot of it right now, my level 4 Latin students. They're reading Thomas Aquinas in the original Latin, a little bit, not like a ton, but like a little bit. And we just got into, maybe that's what I'll do for my next Magister Thinks About Things. One of the philosophers that Thomas quotes is this Muslim philosopher named Averroes, and he's specifically he's quoting him and describing, briefly oversimplifying for the point of his argument, this it's this thought. I'll use the word teaching. I'm going to use the word teaching, but just don't get too caught up with it. This teaching of Verroes on the passive intellect, or what might be called the common passive intellect of all humanity, and it's Aquinas, responding to that and showing an inadequacy that he finds in it. It was very interesting in describing the nature of the soul, and its relation in union to the body. So that's what my fourth level Latin students are reading while they're sitting at home. This video is long. I'm gonna cut it off here, but yeah, stay safe, stay inside, and we'll see you on the other side.